is your percent increase from the amount of money you started with to the amount of money you have. Okay, so I went through and did all the calculations for you. If you plug this in annually and you started with $1,000 at 5% interest, you would have ended up with $1,050. Okay, so to find your annual yield, you take your new price divided by your old. We did that back in 10.3 part 1, where we did the ratios. Okay, so 1.05 annual yield is a percentage. Okay, so change this back to a percent. 105%. So this has a 5% annual yield. It's 5% above 100. Okay. So you've made 5% of your $1,000 investing it this way. Okay. So again, quarterly, did all this for you. Change this to a decimal or to a percentage. 105.094. So you have a 5.094% annual yield. It's gone up a little bit more if we compound it quarterly. 12 months has an annual yield of what? What's this look like as a percentage? 105.116. How much higher than 100 or 100 is it? 5.116. Okay, and finally, daily 5.127%. So while you do gain just a little bit more money, it's not all that much in percentage wise. It hasn't even gone up by 1%. It's only gone up by 0.1. If you want to make the most money though, which way are you going to compound it?
That way.
Yeah. Which way? We've got annually, quarterly, monthly, and daily up here.
Monthly.
Daily. Okay, the more often you do it, the more money you make.
Makes sense.
Make sense?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, calculating your annual yield when you know the start and end values. Okay, all they tell you is what you start with and what you end with. So, just like we did before, what's my new amount? How much money do I have now? $2,784. That's how much I end with. How much did I start with?
2,400.
2,400. What does that give me as a decimal? $1.16. Okay, as a percentage, that looks like what? 116%.
Wait.
So if I have 116%, how much annual yield have I gained?
16.
16%. I'm 16 above 100. 16% annual yield. I like that annual yield. I wish our bank account said that. Okay, try example 2 on your own. See what you come up with. Yeah. Neither does Bianca, really.
So if it's ended, we just do it the same. Okay.
Dang, you got your calculator down.
And it is what you have now, and then the other part is what you started with.
Okay.
So it should always be end divided by start.
That feels right.
You said you got
Put it on,
5.5.
I'll put it there. Yeah, I gotta make
Yes,
sure it's right.
ma'am.
It's on the map, Jesus.
That's my Markel.
Google Walker, that's my name, baby.
And now your name is all over YouTube. Sweet.
You have to go around calling everybody baby. You know that, right?
Okay, so that's 105.5%, which means you've gained 5.5% in a year. Okay, you have 5.5% annual yield. What's a savings account? It's like 0.1% or something every month.
Savings is usually higher than check. Savings is usually as high as like 1.5.
I need Luis Mendina for dismissal, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Is this sort of how credit cards figure out how much annual yield they want to get from us?
Yes. Yes. This is how they scrounge you for everything.
Because they charge it by the day and not by the year?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a mess.
Okay.
They do.
So-
That's what they do.
How do we find this out if we do not know the initial investment? We don't know how much money we have in the account to begin with. So here's my formula. It should look very familiar.
Yes.
It looks very familiar to what we just got done doing before lunch. Okay? So what you need to treat, we need to treat it as P sub 0 is 100%. That's why this is 100 here. Because remember, that's your initial investment that we used to put in. So we're treating it like all of your money is in the account. That's why that's 100%. Okay? Everything else is still the same. I still represents the percent that it's changing. K still represents how often it's happening. So we plug this in. 100% of our investment is being invested at 16%. What's that as a decimal? 0.16 divided by, how often is this happening? Monthly. So this is a 12. Raised to the 12 minus 100.
That'll be much higher than 100. I don't know.
17.23% annual yield. Okay. If we didn't subtract the 100, we would have ended up with 117.23%, which again, over 100, we're 17.23% over 100. Okay, so just doing that minus 100 takes us that extra step where we don't have to think, okay, I'm 17.23% above it. Okay, so it kind of does it for you. So this last one, I'm investing 100% of my money. At what percentage? 0.09 divided by 4. I'm compounding quarterly. Raised to the 4th minus 100. 9.31% annual yield. That's some booty. Okay. Any questions or issues?
Oh, man.
Fantastic.